And first place this year goes to Jock Sutherland.
Good work, Jock. Good work, Jock. Well, do it again.
The ocean can be such a great rounder-outer, if you will, of your character and your ability, because it gives you a feeling of anticipation. You know, it sharpens your ability to know what you can do, what you can't do, how other people can help you, you know, in your growth. You know, when you're a young person. So, as an older guy and having been mentored and taught by some of the greats here on the North Shore, or Jose Angel, Buzzy Trent, you know, Peter Cole, Fred Van Dyke, all these people. I very much realize now, in retrospect, even though when it was happening, I realized, you know, that was a great thing too. You know, somebody come up to me when I'm 15 years old out and say, "Oh, here's a lineup kid, you know, Buzzy or Jose," you know. The priorities in my life are basically the same as when I came out of high school. You know, try to enjoy your time in the water, but also help anybody else that looks like they might need it. I don't thank my lucky stars enough, you know, for being alive and being raised in this wonderful place. Yeah, my dad was a surfer, a good small boatman, a commercial fisherman, and when he met my mom, she used to help him set the lobster traps. And this was back when in the Los Angeles area and south of there, where we lived, in between Huntington Beach and Seal Beach, small fishing town called Surfside. That there was a lot of fish there, you know, and a lot of crabs, lobster, and abalone. And so I was raised basically in a fisherman's family, and because my dad was a surfer back in the old days when there was no fins on the boards, and just the weight of the board was enough to keep it sunk in the water, that I naturally, by the time I was 5, 6 years old, I was already paddling on a board. And some of my earliest memories when we moved out here to the North Shore in the 50s were paddling an old redwood surfboard with the lobster traps on it out to the reef here. This is back when there was a lot more lobster, of course. By the time I was 9, 10 years old, I already figured, oh, this is good stuff. And so I was going to be a consistent surfer after that. And we moved back to the North Shore in 1961 and started to go to high school out here in Waialua. And probably in the next 2, 3 years is when I was able to start riding, you know, 6, 8 foot waves.
Duke Kahanamoku's World of Surfing.
The whole idea of this Duke Kahanamoku Surf Classic, it's all hedged around the idea that Duke has contributed so much to this world of surfing, to Hawaii, to America. When you stop to think that he represented the Olympics for America when Hawaii was unheard of.
The first Duke Kahanamoku contest happened in '65, and that was the one that Jeff won. And I was lucky enough to be able to weasel my way in as a water patrol guy and ride a couple waves between the heats. And so, and Jeff put in a word for me. And so the next year, 1966, that Ricky Gregg won, I was able to get into the Duke contest, which is it was a great contest. The third Duke contest, that was when boards were just starting to change as far as being more maneuverable, and Dick Brewer shaped me a nice 9.6 or so, 9.8 pintail, a Greg Knoll board. surf that day at Sunset Beach was probably 10 feet maybe, but there was also some 12-foot sets, some bigger sets, maybe 15 coming on the outside reef. During the finals, Mike Doyle and the other guys, a lot of the other guys were sitting on the outside and catching the occasional big bomber, but it wasn't quite as consistent as the peak that was coming in halfway in between the very inside of Sunset and the regular break. And I got lucky enough and actually got a couple little cover-ups, and so the judges had me winning the final.
Jock, we'd like to hear something about how you felt when you were riding those big waves yesterday, and really the way you were turning and all of that. Could you tell us?
Well, I think the overall feeling of all the contestants was just to do the best they could, and this feeling kind of pushed everybody to surf their best. And that's just the way it happened with me. I didn't happen to make any mistakes. I'm glad that I won.
Oh,
Well, we really feel you did a great job, Jock, and we want to give you our fondest alohas.
Thank you.
yeah, Jock.
Pipeline was real fun back then. It wasn't very crowded. When it got bigger, sometimes, most of the time when I was 14, 15, I was a little reluctant, to go out on the bigger days, but probably by the time I was 16, 17, I'd be out there, 8 to 10 foot days. And a couple years after that, I surfed outside Pipeline a couple of times, and that was a real experience too.
Ashes fall, leaving sunrise behind me, thinking what words can I say? When will you show? There is no way to know. Nothing will happen that is not meant to be. In the garden, in the garden, in the garden, my love.
Because I had no car back then, I would usually depend on, it's like, 5 miles up the road, that I'd depend on some of my friends like Jimmy Lucas and Kiki Spangler, these guys, because Jimmy's dad owned a car lot, and so he was able to get a car by the time he was 15, and so they'd come out and we'd go surf Sunset or Pipe or Waimea, whatever, or here at Chun's or Lonnie's, and it was great because these guys were better surfers than I was at the time, and we would push each other, and so it was great.
With hunger in their eyes, wading through the cold city light, reaching for a shelter they cannot control, longing for that sweet countryside.
That year, Jeff, who was already going to community college over on Maui, he got me he told me, hey, Jock, come on over. There's great surf here at Honolulu Bay, and the parents will be stoked because you're going to school. And so I went for it and ended up staying on Maui for a year and a half and really enjoying myself over there, as well as doing well in school. So, hey, what can you say? You win the Duke, you're still going to school, your parents are happy, and you got good surf, you're with your buddies, it was a great time to be alive.
We have always stood. Fog rolls in as morning descends. I understand now when you said that love will stay with you always, and we are all one woman, and the mystery lies beyond the wilderness of sight, and in the moments, darling, when we lay in the garden, in the garden, in the garden, my love, we have always stood.
I'm very thankful that I was able to be raised out here on the North Shore by the ocean as I have been, and it helped me, I like to think, be a more caring, compassionate person, maybe because all the wipeouts and the thrashings and the humiliations I've had.
There are some things that I can't afford to lose. I could be nobody as long as I'm someone to you.
You know, I just like it to be said or known that I try to live a good life, and I try to be a loving person that can not only give love but receive love, and was appreciative of the people, not only in my family but my community and in the world, not only for surfing but for being alive and being raised in this wonderful place. Try to enjoy your time in the water, but also help anybody else that looks like they might need it, and enjoy your kids, enjoy your family, and enjoy the people that are around you that might be able to either help you accomplish things, or maybe you can help them, achieve things.
I could hold the world in my hands. I can let it slip right through. I could be nobody as long as I'm someone.